Rico Petrocelli, Boston, 1963, 1965 through 1976. In a 13-season Major League career spent entirely with the Red Sox, Rico Petrocelli was one of the great slugging middle infielders in baseball history. In 1969, he set an American League record for home runs by shortstops when he slugged 40 of his career total of 210. In 1969, he also tied the AL record for fewest errors by a shortstop in a season with 14. Petrocelli was one of only two players, along with Carl Yastrzemski, to play in both the 1967 and 1975 World Series. His two home runs helped lead the Red Sox to victory in the sixth game of the 1967 World Series.
And ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor, thrill, and pleasure to have joining us today former Red Sox shortstop Rico Petrocelli. Rico, how you doing, sir?
All right, Larry, good. Can you hear me here?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you all right. In fact, they just called from Canada. They can hear you up there.
Well, that's good. That's because I got a big mouth. You know, us Northeasterners, you know how
good
it
lungs.
is.
Good lungs, like Ted Williams. I used to think he had 3 lungs. He talked so loud.
Hey, Rico, let me ask you this. Well, about a week away from the All-Star game, you yourself played in 2 All-Star games throughout your career. This time of season, what does it mean? First, let's take it from this point of view. What does it mean to an individual when you made your first All-Star appearance for the first time to play with all the greats among Major League Baseball?
Well, I'll tell you, it was a great thrill. 1967, we were in Anaheim, at the All-Star game there. And I mean, all the greats were there. Mays, Mantle, and Hank Aaron, Sandy Koufax. It goes on and on. Just one guy after another. Just great players. And, you know, I was kind of a little in awe. It was my first All-Star game. And when I got to meet them, to talk with them, boy, it was a big thrill. It really was.
Now, Rico, you know, in 1963, you play one game, you get a hit, it's a double, it's your first hit. It's actually off a guy who would end up pitching for your team later on in your career. I believe it was Lee Stang, or if I pronounced his name wrong. Talk about that first hit. I mean, I know it took a little time to get back to the majors, but talk about that first hit and reliving that moment, just kind of getting that monkey off your bat where you can say, okay, I got that first hit.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I still have the ball, by the way. What a thrill. Lee Stang, who had wasn't overpowering, but he had an excellent curveball. I mean, he was tough. And I think the first time he got me out, I'm not sure if it was a ground ball, but second time up, he throws me a curveball. I take strike one. And I know he's going to throw me. He's got to throw me more breaking pitches. You know. Then he wastes the fastball. Now here comes the curve. It's a hanger. It's right there. Bang! I swung, and it was going. I know it was a fly ball to left field. Hit it pretty good, and I started running to first base. And the coach is going, "Go, go, go!" That's all I heard. My head was down. I came up to second base with one of those pop-up slides and looked around and said, "What happened?" The fans are really excited. They're cheering, all 2,000 of them. And wow, I got a double. They hit it off the wall. This is fabulous. They threw the ball in and gave me the ball. And wow, I mean, this was one of the great thrills of my career.
Now, in 1965, you get to play a whole season. I mean, you ended up batting .232, 13 homers, 33 RBIs in your first full season. Talk about the bumps and bruises that an athlete like yourself transition, and you know where I'm going with it. They have to go from minor league baseball to Major League Baseball, and no matter who you are, you have those bumps and bruises.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I sure did. I came up and I tried switch hitting, and that didn't work. And the Red Sox were bringing up all the young guys, and so they probably rushed us a little bit. I mean, I was overmatched, but I did, have some hits, and I didn't play every game, of course, but Eddie Brassoud was the shortstop. Really, he had a good year the year before. So anyway, they started throwing me, I mean, really working me inside with the fastball, away with the breaking pitch. I'd swing at bad pitches, in the dirt, over my head. It was very frustrating. As a kid, you lose confidence. And fortunately, I had a couple of good teammates, to help me out. Of course, Yaz was on the team, and I knew him. And some of the guys I came up with, one or two from the minor leagues. So, it was really tough. And Ted Williams would try to help us in spring training. And, he was such a detailed guy. He'd say, well, that pitch a half an inch off the plate now, you gotta take that. I said, half an inch off the plate? You kidding me? I just want to see the ball and hit it. I mean, all the young guys were, wow, this guy's unbelievable. But that's what kind of hitter he was. Yeah, and then, you know what? It took me 2 years. Really, the next year struggled somewhat too. But I finally started, and Ted Williams was a big help. He taught me how to look for the curveball, breaking pitch, because they would throw me 2-0 breaking pitches often, and I just either took it or I swung and popped it up, or I just missed it. It was tough. So finally, he told me, I said, Ted, I'm really having trouble with the breaking pitch. He says, look, eventually you're going to have to do this. When a pitcher, if you think you're going to look for a breaking ball, wait till the pitcher releases the ball before you move. You know what I'm saying? In other words, if you're looking fastball, a guy has a pretty good fastball, you're waiting for the fastball and you commit yourself because, that's a pretty good fastball. But in the breaking pitch, you let him throw, stay there, and now you start moving towards the ball. Now, if it's a fastball, you either take it, probably you'll have to take it. Very few guys, where you can be looking back and then waiting back, and then all of a sudden hit a good fastball. And it really helped me. I started looking breaking pitch, even 2-0, bang, home runs, 67. Of course, that was a big year for us. So, yeah, it was ups and downs. It was and sometimes very discouraging, and other times, you're really high, but you want to get established in the big leagues. You want to have a good year so that we used to say you belong now, you're a big leaguer. And once that happened, man, it would just change everything. Confidence was.
Now, you mentioned 67, the impossible dream year in Boston. I mean, you had a solid year, 259, 17 homers, 66 RBIs. But let me ask you, this is a team, as you know, Rico, that hadn't won anything since 1958. So you got this long spell going 9 years. When did you realize that year in 67 that, darn it, we may have something special here?
Yeah. Yeah, well, when they brought up all the young guys and Dick Williams took over as manager, he brought a different outlook. It was more National League, hit and run, steal some bases, get the bunt down. You remember that, the bunt? Remember that? A lot of people don't remember.
Yeah, we did have that when I played.
No, but they don't have it now. Very, very seldom. No, but yeah, and we bought into it because we're tired of losing. I mean, 65, 66, 199 games we lost. And Yaz was sick. I was a few other guys that came up, and they made a lot of changes. And then, we started to do the things that Dick wanted, but, we still struggled into the season. And then gradually we started really getting it down, get bunt. Even Yaz said, hey, Dick, if you want me to bunt, I'll bunt. Of course, he won the Triple Crown, but he didn't have to bunt. But, yeah, and things started to work. And right before the All-Star break, we were kind of in the middle of the pack. 10 teams, there was no at that time, there was no playoffs. And we won 5 games before the All-Star break, 5 games after, 5 on the road especially, 10 in a row. So by that time, I think we were half a game out of first place. And now with four teams in the race, every day, you'd lose, somebody else would go ahead of you, then you'd win, and you go back. So it went back and forth. till the last day against the Minnesota Twins. The last 2 days, actually. We won the first game, and the last game of the year we had to win, and Detroit had to split a doubleheader. So we did have to wait. We won. It was fabulous. We went to the clubhouse and waited. We heard the second game. They won the first game. We heard the second game on the radio. When they lost, the place went wild. I mean, the owner was there, Mr. York. Everybody was there just going crazy. All hugging Yaz. I mean, Yaz had a fabulous year.
Now, how special for you, Game 6, you hit 2 homers, both off Dick Hughes. I mean, it's Game 6 of the World Series. How fulfilling is it to be on the big stage and to deliver for your team like that?
Well, it's hitting a home run in the World Series is a dream come true. I mean, the only thing better would be, the bottom of the 9th inning, 7th game, hit a home run to win the game, naturally, like Bill Mazeroski. But, it was a thrill. I mean, I struggled and everybody else did against Bob Gibson, certainly a great, great pitcher. But Hughes was more hittable, a couple of the other pitchers. And I got a ball actually is out in the outside part of the plate because they were trying to keep it away from me. And I caught it and I hit it left center field. Towards center field, goes into the net, home run. Next time up, now he again tries to throw it out. He got it out over the plate a little more, and bang, I hit it to left field. It's out of the ballpark. I'm running around the bases. Oh my God, it's just like you're walking on clouds. The fans are going nuts. Here we are, we're winning. We have to win that game. And then, we go on to win it, and it was just great.
Now, you mentioned Carl Yastrzemski, the Triple Crown, 44 homers, 121 RBIs, 326 batting average. How fun when you have a guy on your team that can basically do, like you said, he'd bunt if you wanted him to bunt, but can do anything with the bat. Not only how much is it fun to play with, but how fun is it to be able to sit in the dugout and watch him do his craft?
It was incredible. It was incredible. Every time he came up in a tight situation, he was successful. Home runs, base hits, you name it. And left field, he was probably the best left fielder to play the wall. He was great at it. And he threw runners out. He stole some bases. He did everything. It was great. And in the clubhouse, he was terrific. All the guys loved him. We were young. We're all young. A lot of the other players, their first year in the big leagues, and really looked up to Yaz. And he didn't have to say anything. He just did it on the field. And he was the leader. And that takes a lot of pressure off everybody. If you don't do it, somebody else will do it, or Yaz is going to do it, and it was so much fun. We were like college kids, rah, couldn't wait to get to the ballpark. And we had some fun. And it was a great, great thrill to be a part of that team.
One of the guys that didn't get a lot of attention, but I thought, everybody was a major part. You don't win something like that and get to Game 7 of a World Series by one player doing everything the entire year. But the one guy, and I want to know how important he was from you, because I know he had a great offensive year as well. How big was George Scott at first base?
Oh, he was a great first baseman. That's no exaggeration. I mean, he saved us so many errors. He could pick it, those short hops, and he can cover ground. He had great range. Just a terrific player. And, he got a lot of big hits. I think he hit over 300 for the year, and he got a lot of big hits, clutch hits. So George was a very, very important guy in that lineup. And he and I were very close friends. We came up together. We were in the minor leagues together, and we hung out together a lot, went out to dinner, and even afterwards we stayed in touch. And George was important. I mean, without him, we don't win either, even if Yaz has that kind of year.
Now, back then when you look at a shortstop, it was different. I mean, shortstops were known to play great defense, as you did, but they weren't necessarily known to have a unbelievable bat, like the Bud Harrelsons, the Mark Belangers, even you early in your career, 250 hitter. But 1969 comes, and you think all the years before, maybe the pitchers were using a foreign substance. Because all of a sudden, you go crazy. What, in 69, you hit 40 homers. At that time, a record for shortstops. I think the following year, you hit like 29 homers, one shy of 30. What was the difference in 69 and 70 besides learning the pitches and, getting comfortable in the major leagues? What do you consider the major difference and the turnaround in the power numbers?
Well, I gained 20 pounds. I have 4 brothers, so at around that age, they too kind of matured physically, and that's what happened to me. I worked out, of course, in the winter and all that, felt strong, but the big thing was mental, because prior to that, I put a lot of pressure on myself to be a great player. My hero was Mickey Mantle. And when you watched him as a kid on TV and he hit those home runs, I mean, they were the one center field. It was like no one ever did it in the old Yankee Stadium. It was 467, 463 feet away. He hit it probably 500 feet. It was like we're in awe of him. Anything he did, we loved. So what I did is I looked at myself and I thought I had to be. I wanted to be great. And I guess I had to be like Mickey Mantle, 50 home runs, 130 RBI, hit 350, 340. Even in the minor leagues, I had a real good year my first year. I made the all-star team and all that. And I thought I was a failure. I hit 280, with 80 RBIs. And I said, oh, my God, that's terrible, But the year before that winter in 69, I said to myself, you know what? I can't be Mickey Mantle. Nobody can be Mickey Mantle. And I said, I'm going to be myself. And no matter what I do, whether I hit 220, 320, I'm going to go out there not trying to be like somebody else. And I'm telling you, it's like the pressure just came right off me. It was just like, holy. And I was having fun, spring training. I just relaxed. And I saw the ball. I mean, almost every time up, it's like a watermelon or at least a grapefruit.
Right.
And that was the thing. Pressure, confidence started to build, and bang. Yeah, who thought I would ever hit 40 home runs? But every time, bang, on the road at Fenway, it was just everything went right.
Now, you're considered one of the best defensive, by far, shortstops in the league. But in 1971, Luis Aparicio comes up and you move to third base. Were you upset about that move? Or did you actually, some people have a say, some people don't have a say. Did you actually have a say in what was going to happen there?
Yeah, I actually did. I got a call. They were the manager and the coaches all were at the winter meetings, and they were trying to get a third baseman. Because Eddie Casco talked to him, and he says, played shortstop a couple of years. We're going to look for a third baseman. Okay, so they went to the winter meetings, tried to get the first guy they tried to get was Ron Santo from the Cubs. Forget it. You have to give the whole team up for him. And they kept looking, couldn't get anybody. So I got a call from Eddie. Rico, we try to get to third base. We can't do it. Would you move over to third base? And we have an opportunity to get Louis Aparicio, who was a great player, was a Hall of Famer. And I said, Louis Aparicio? I said, absolutely. I said, as long as I'm in the lineup, I don't care. I'll catch, And so I moved over there. Frank Malzone, who was our scout. Frank was a great third baseman. He helped me out over at third base. And, I played third base the rest of my career. It is different, than short. You don't see the ball like you do at shortstop come off the bat. All of a sudden, bang, it's there. And we had some pretty good pull hitters in the league at that time. Frank Howard and Killebrew and others.
Now in 75, you guys, once again, some young guys come up, and guess what happens? The Red Sox again go to the World Series. Now, I know you were hurt the second half of that season, but you still got to play in the World Series and the playoffs and everything. Talk about that team and how it was different from the 67 team and how it was similar to the 67 team.
Well, it was, I was older. Yaz was older. We had most of the team were veterans with Louis Tion, Rick Wise, Rick Burleson at shortstop, Denny Doyle. We got him in a trade. Rice, for most of the season. And we had a good pitching staff. Bill Lee, I think he won 17 games. Roger Moret did a great job, 14-2, I think, that year. But it was a different type of team. Remember, I mentioned the 67 team with young and rah-rah. This was more of a business-like team. We went out there and got loose and went and played the game. It wasn't so much rah-rah. But the two kids who came up, Rice and Lynn, Freddie Lynn, were just tremendous talents. And the one thing we got them from the Red Sox organization, they developed them. Rice was a great hitter, and Freddie was a great all-around player. Outfielder, he had some power, and he could knock in runs, both of them. I think they each knocked in 100 runs each, which was tremendous. And that really helped us offensively. Cecil Cooper was another guy who was a great hitter. Cecil. So, yeah, we went along. We started to win right away. We got out to a big lead, like 12-game lead most of the season until the end. Here comes Baltimore. And Baltimore started to play well. We played okay, but, we were starting to lose ground. And then we had a series with them at Fenway Park, Louis Tion against Jim Palmer. Wow. It was like a World Series. Louis Tion shut them out. I think it was 2-0. Me and Fisk hit home runs. And I kind of think they knew and we knew that was about it. We beat them both games. And we ended up, I think, winning it by 4.5 games. And then played Oakland in the playoffs. So
talk about the Fisk home run. You see it on every highlight reel. I mean, what was that like to be there and part of?
Well, Bernie Carbo's home run to tie the game. I was on first base, and he took two of the worst swings. I said, "Oh my God, what's going to happen here?" And then he gets a pitch to hit, and bang! So I'm on first, and I'm looking at the trajectory of the ball, and if he hit it far enough, hard enough, that was going to go out. And sure enough, boy, when that landed in center field, oh my God, we were going nuts. I mean, this was incredible. Then later on, it was extra innings. Like Fisk didn't win it the next inning. I think he won it in the 12th inning, and the ball was hit. He was a great low ball hitter, and he could hit the high pitch, but especially a great low ball hitter. And Pat Darcy, I think, was the pitcher, and he was a sinker baller. Ooh, and sure enough, goes the sinker, Fisk hits it, and that thing starts curving towards foul. He goes this way. We're in the dugout, and boom, it hits the fair pole, the foul pole, and I tell you, I almost hit my head off on the dugout because we were so excited and screaming, and everybody ran up there and hugged him. And thinking after that, we got to win this thing now. Heck, after a game like this, game 7, we're going to win it. And then we go out 3-0 lead. I think Lynn hits a 3-run home run with 3-0. I was just, oh wow, it's getting more and more exciting. And then here come the big red machine base hit here, 2-run home run by Perez off the slow pitch, and then they tie it up. And then of course Joe Morgan is a great player. They brought in the lefty, young pitcher, but I thought that was a pretty good move, although there's some controversy on it. But still, I mean, Joe hits it off the end, gets the base hit, and they win. But it was a great, successful year for us. It did a lot for baseball here in New England. And probably, they talk about it being one of the great World Series. So it did a lot for baseball.
Now, how amazing is it for you to wake up, turn on a Red Sox game, and 60 years later, they're playing in the same stadium that you played in?
Oh, yeah, yeah, it is. When I go there, I only live about 20, 30 minutes from Fenway, and they have some promotions. They bring in the former players. So when I go there, of course, if I'm on the field, everything looks like it's 100 miles away, but they made changes too, and it worked out really well with the monster seats, and they've done such a great job. And the ownership's been wonderful to us, former players. They bring us in, and they can't do enough for us. But it is saying, yeah, look at this. I played in this field, and what a thrill. It's different. Fenway's, it's different. The fans are right on top of you. And then, of course, there's the monster looking, that thing staring you in the face. And just a great baseball city, great sports city, and great baseball fans.
Now, you talked earlier and you were teasing me about the word bunt. I mean, the game of baseball has evolved into a game that it's fair enough for me to say that is completely different than the game you played back when you played. I mean, you don't see the bunt, you don't see the hit and run, you don't see the sacrifice fly, you don't see productive outs. I mean, the game nowadays seems to be a home run derby type game. You either hit a homer or you don't. Are you finding yourself I love the game of baseball like you do, but do you find it's a different game and it's maybe not as enjoyable, or maybe exciting is the right word, as it used to be?
Well, yeah, somewhat, but I'm not one of the guys that like the old timers who say, when we played, this was different, it was great and all that. But it was more interesting because of the bunts and the hit and run and the strategies. Now, yeah, the theme now is for the hitters is to swing a little up on the ball and get it in the air, and it's because of cybermetrics. All the stats they researched it and said, there's more success if you hit the ball in the air. Ted Williams had that theory as well, and he did pretty well. It's okay, but I think that certain hitters in the lineup, it's okay. Let's take the Yankees with their big guys there, right? With Judge and what's his name there, the other big righty. Yeah, and I could see that. It was always kind of that way in baseball, even when I played. The big home run hitters, Harmon Killebrew had an uppercut swing, hit 40-some home runs a year. Big Frank Howard. Nationally, he was Mays had a little bit of a little upswing, but he was so great. Aaron was more of a hit, chop down, hit off the front foot guy. But it's different now. And, they don't want to bunt. And by the way, the guy who brought that theory in was Earl Weaver. Earl Weaver, his books and all that. I'm not going to bunt and give up and out. I like the 3 men on, or the 3-run home run. And that caught on. It started to catch on, and now, I guess through research, they say it's better. But for the fans, the strikeouts, it gets frustrating. Even for the media, guys that say, hey, even the young guys, saying, geez, this is kind of gets boring here, and then the games are so long. But that's how it is now. There's different rules. You can't take out a guy at shortstop, in a double play situation. You can't bang into the catcher. They're concerned about injuries, especially with pitchers. Can't blame them for that because they're making a lot of money here. These guys, that investment, want to make sure they get something for their money. This is the owners. So yeah, it's different. But then I look at the stats and I see, these hitters, they're hitting 320, 330, 340. There's still enough hitters hitting 300. But it's true, they do it differently. Now, it's in the gap. It's a line drive and sometimes a ground ball, but it's mostly in the air. So, it's definitely changed. And the big thing is, I'll agree that game has changed, but the society has changed too, Larry, because the kids now, they don't have that they don't have the patience anymore. It's everything's quick quick. They see a game, it gets a little boring. They don't care about the strategies and all that involved. No, what do they care? So they see 3-4 innings and see you later, And so that's changed a lot. Fans want to be excited. You talked about hockey earlier. I mean, I watched a hockey game. My wife never watched hockey until 2 years ago when the Bruins got in the finals. They were so exciting. She couldn't wait. She says, "What time are they on? What time are they on? Get the TV." I says, "Yeah, we loved it, and it's still that way because it's a game that moves. Basketball, somewhat basketball too, but baseball is a different game. That's the way it is. The tempo is different, and you got to look at it differently. But when there's no bunting, there's no hit and run, we can't talk about it. Hey, that was a nice bunt. Got 2 men on, 9th inning, bottom of the 9th. You get those guys over, you get a fly ball, you win the game. No, 2 men on. The next guy's no outs. The next guy's swinging away.
But you know what, Rico? With the new extra inning rule, when they do put this guy on second base, now you see teams going back to the way they played it back in the 60s and 70s. Why not play the entire game that way? You might get yourself out of playing extra innings.
At that time, see, early in the game, they didn't want to give up the out. If it would be so stupid if they did not, and they're probably not going to do it every time. Depends on the hitter. Your fourth hitter, you're probably not going to do it. But if you get the guy over, this is extra innings. You get a fly ball, that's it. And if you don't, you still got another batter to maybe get a hit, or if it's an error, you win the game. So that's different. That's a lot different. But they won't do it, earlier in the game because give up an out. You crazy? So,
now, another big thing that's changed in the game that you didn't have to deal with when you played either defensively or offensively is the shift.
Good. Yeah, right. That's the one thing that they ought to take out of it. There should be a new rule. No shifts. You can play, let's say, as a left-handed hitter. So have the shortstop play kind of in back of second base or a little towards left field, and the second baseman could pull around, pull around towards first base with a left-handed pull hitter. There's your shift. To me, that's where it should be. But I understand they're allowed to do it because they've always been allowed to do it, but they haven't done it in the past. If the shift, probably I think I might have hit 125 in my career if it was they shifted on me. I'll become a right field hitter. Pete Reynolds told me when I first came up, he was a hitting instructor, and he was a great hitter. He took me to Fenway Park at first base. I mean, at home plate. He said, "Look at right field. How long? Down the line short, but you don't hit that many down. Regular right center 380. Wow, it's a long way. Keep going. Right center, almost to center field 420. Then we went around. He says, "How about left center 365? How about down the line 310?" He says, "Which way would you like to hit, son?" I said, "Which way do you think is better?" "I think left field, Pete." "Right, kid, right." So he got on the plate. I opened my stance, got really close to the plate, and tried to pull everything. So I could hit that outside pitch because it was like, a good pitch to hit for me. So, he played 81 games in the ballpark. It's like Yankee Stadium. The Yankees, there's complaints they don't have a left-handed power hitter. They're right. How can you not have a right-handed power hitter with a ballpark like that? You got to take some advantage of it. Sure, the right-handers can go that way. Sure, yeah, and they should. But you got to get that left-handed hitter too.
Now, couple questions before I let you run here, Rico.
Sure.
Of late, we've been hearing a lot of talk about pitches and the implementation of the rule that's always been there. And I tell people, even to this day, even when you played the game, there was pitches that would put stuff on their glove or stuff on their pants or stuff here to get control of a baseball when they pitch. What is your thought process? Because I remember seeing Gaylord Perry get thrown out of a game among some other pitchers that did nothing different than what these guys are doing today. Why such a big deal? Are they ruining the game by getting this petty over stuff? And are they looking at the wrong? And you mentioned the excitement of the game. The kids today want stuff that is faster and more exciting and quicker. Are they going about this the wrong way?
Make no mistakes. Baseball and every other sport wants offense. Offense. They want scoring. They want, hits, home runs, of course, but guys on base, guys moving, action. They want action. And, it's when they don't get that action, then they're going to, there's going to be a lot of complaints. And that's the thing. When I played, I don't know, there wasn't that much of a problem there. Of course, it was different. But, no, I don't know. I'm not sure. But
Rico, you got to admit, you played infield, so you saw a lot of baseballs hit the dirt and stuff like that. I don't ever remember, and maybe I'm wrong because I wasn't on the field, but I never remember them throwing that many baseballs out of a game after every single play. Did they?
No. When I first saw that, I don't know, a couple of years ago, I said, what are they doing? They're a ball in the dirt, and they're throwing out. I said, how many baseballs do they use? But the thing is, Larry, the rule says nothing on the ball. Okay, that's the rule. So they don't want to change the rule. And when I played, there were guys who they threw grease balls, they put it on their, on the uniforms and their belt and their hats and all that. And so, but the thing was that a spitter, let's say, and you couldn't go to your mouth. That would be a ball. So pitchers didn't do that. And when they got off the mound, if they did it, then they were supposed to clean it off. But they were smart guys. What they do is, instead of going like this, they go like that, and they still had it on, the lousy brats. No, but it's punish the pitchers. But the rule is no foreign substance. And they were letting them go to their mouth, letting them use pine tar for a little while, and that helps the pitcher, especially breaking pitches. And now with this other substance, no. From a hitter standpoint, no. It's a rule. So if you're going to change the rule, that's different. But you can't do it, especially because they want offense. That's why they're doing it. I'm telling you, So. Once
before I let you run, Rico, I have to ask.
Okay.
Before I let you run, the Red Sox. How surprised are you? I mean, everybody's saying the Yankees. They weren't even allowing the Rays, who won that division last year, to have a prayer over the Yankees. Now you look at the Yankees, and I know it's only half a year, but you got to be darn proud of what the Red Sox are doing so far.
Very happy. Yeah, it is a surprise because everyone thought, they're in a building year. They got a few new players. They made some trades that's working out. And the kid at third base, he can hit. The shortstop, Bogart's a tremendous player. And Martinez, he's proven, power hitter, RBI guy. So those three guys, they're what I was saying earlier, that you got the bulk of your guys in the middle who can hit home runs, and you get the other guys to get on base, and that's what they're doing. And the big surprise is that they've been getting a good bullpen. They've had real good bullpen success. Their starters have had a little trouble overall, not a lot because look at their record. But the key is for any team, can they do it the rest of the year? Because yes, somebody's going to get hot the second half in that division. Beside the Red Sox. So I think it's going to close up. I really do.
Well, we will see, because remember, their ace hasn't even pitched yet this year in Chris Petrocelli, who's supposed to sometime, I believe, near August come back. So that'll definitely be a big push for them. But
definitely.
Rico, I want to thank you so very, very much for joining us tonight on Frankly Speaking Sports.
Hey, Larry, thanks so much. It's always fun being with you, I'll tell you. And you're knowledgeable.
Well, don't tell anyone. I don't want you to ruin my reputation, okay?
Okay.
All right, my friend. Stay safe up there, okay?
Thank you. You too. Take care, Larry.
All righty. All right, that was